Hey, thanks for checking out Wayne.com for Inside the Zone.
Wouldn't people just kill to know what we were laughing at ahead of time on all these things?
We should have an outtake segment
Oh,
at the
it'd
end
be
of
so
the
much
year.
fun.
It would also be...
We'd also get fired.
We'd incur some FCC violations.
You'd get divorced.
That's probably true. That is very true. But we do not want to divorce ourselves from what was a decent...
See what he did there?
That's professional segue.
Wow,
they don't
I'm
even
impressed.
teach that in broadcasting school.
Yeah.
A good start to the week for the Komets, a not great ending for the week.
No.
I woke up this morning scrolling through Twitter and I read an article somewhere that was not too complimentary of the way that the forwards have been getting back to help the defense.
They haven't been getting back to help the defense. That's the problem.
Therein lies the rub.
Like, you could play on the other side of the red line too.
So, as far as last week goes, what's your takeaway from what you saw last week?
Oh, I tell you, I was so frustrated in some ways. It was leading into this. It wasn't just last night that honked me off, okay? I'm watching Friday's game. They're in Kalamazoo. Big game. And they're doing the same things, except they're not getting hurt by it. You know, they're doing the dipsy-do at the blue line, and then they lose the puck, and it's going the other way, and they're putting their head down and going back like this. And, and then, or they're dropping the puck at the blue line for somebody to come in on it, and it's like you put him into that corner. It's like when you're trying to trap in basketball. You use the sideline and the half-court line. Mm-hmm. What are they supposed to do with the puck there? They're doing that kind of stuff all the frickin' time. And I've been to practice, and I hear Gary screaming about it, and it's like, come on, guys, it's not that hard. So third period, halfway through, they start bumping it off the wall. They start doing what they're supposed to. They get 3 goals and take over. It's like, it's not that hard. Do what you're supposed to do. They call it fundamentals because it makes the game easier to play. And it's like, do those things and you're all set. Well, then Sunday night, they didn't do any of that. Not one blasted thing about it. And I'm like, I've had enough. Because I knew everybody was going to blame the referee. Because Kalamazoo had 7 power plays and the Komets had 1. And frankly, I didn't think the forwards worked hard enough to really earn that many power plays the way they were going. And I'd had it at that point. So my foot's a little sore today.
Well, Gary, I think, had the same sentiment after the game. So how does he go about improving that? There's 12 games left in the regular season. You want to be playing your best hockey when the postseason starts, especially, you think they make it to the second round where things are going to get a bit more challenging. But what does Gary do in practice or over the next 12 games to make sure things get better in those respects?
Usually when these guys have a situation like this, they take care of it themselves. Part of the problem is right now there's no Shasma, there's no Cody Soul. Cody's really good at that kind of thing. Cody says what needs to be said, a lot of times. And it's not like they have a meeting or anything. He just says it in the room and guys listen, I think Garrett Thompson, Curtis Leonard, this is their chance to kind of step up with that too. And Sid, to say that kind of thing that, let's really work on this, The biggest problem with yesterday was not that it was the same thing happening again. It's like they were down to 5 defensemen, and I think they had 2 rookies. And, forwards, be aware. Have some presence in the game and what the moment is, and realize that you've got 5 defensemen. They need a little help. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost you that much to be a little more careful with the puck in the offensive zone and all that. I mean, just be aware. Have some game awareness, some presence of the situation. I mean, that was what I was most upset with, is like, you should know better. I mean, it's a team. You help your teammates. You don't set them up to fail. And that's what I felt like they were doing.
Last week, the Komets announcing that Ryan Culkin put on 21-day IR. Shasma retroactively was placed on 21-day IR. So like you mentioned, they are a little bit short in terms of defensemen's bodies. So how do you go about solving that problem other than having the forwards do a little bit more to help their teammates out?
Well, Dan Maggio comes back. And
does
back.
he?
He's town.
Have they announced that already?
Last night.
Well, look at Blake Sebring.
And he's in town. He's ready for the road trip. Hasn't played in a while in Tucson. He's been sitting, but he's, Mags is always ready to go. And just bringing his presence and his enthusiasm and his energy will mean a tremendous amount of good for the whole team. Just the fact that he loves being here, loves playing here, and he'll be happy, and he'll be ready to go. And you can play him as 30 minutes a game if you need to, and give everybody a breather a little bit. That'll help tremendously.
As far as this week goes, we're talking about another road swing. What are you anticipating from the Komets this week as they go on the road? We're talking 3 road games, and it starts Wednesday against Reading.
Oh, I think they're going to play.
Reading always plays well for. I mean, that's a good franchise.
Yes, it is. And Larry Corville did a great job for years. Had a ton of respect for him, and now they've got a new coach. And Reading's a tough place to play, but I have a feeling the Komets will be slightly motivated after yesterday.
Oh, you think?
Just a tad. I have a feeling Gary will light some fires in that room before the game, or he may not even have to, because they'll have the whole bus ride over tonight. They're leaving tonight. This is the kind of thing the Komets do a little extra for the guys. Instead of making them go over the night before and then get used to it and everything, they're going over tonight. And they're going to sleep all night. They'll get up in the morning, go to practice, and then they'll be on their regular routine. That's the type of thing a lot of teams just don't do. Because the per diem on that.
I was going to say that requires money.
Yeah, it's like $1,000 extra per diem right there. And that's a lot of money when you add it up over 72 games.
Oh, sure. You've got Adirondack and then at Worcester, right? Mm-hmm. So those are your weekend games. So Friday, Saturday, and then a Sunday off.
It sets up nice. You've got 4 weeks left, 3 games a week. You don't have any 4 and 5s anymore. You're basically, except for this trip, you're sleeping in your own bed. It's really set up nice. A 4 and 5 is so much harder, but the last 5 weeks are all 3 and 3s. And even this is 3 and 4. So take it and really make it hay.
So is there any difference, considering we're a couple weeks away? Remember when they had the West Coast, the 4 games a couple weeks ago out west? This is 3 games out east during a week. Do you approach it any differently than you did that 4-game set on the road a couple weeks ago?
I'll tell you one thing that's a big difference on this trip. There'll be Komets fans in Reading and in Adirondack and in Worcester. There will be fans that this is like could be their spring break trip type thing, and they'll all go out there. It's not going to be 500 or 1,000, but it'll be a couple hundred maybe. And you can hear them, and the guys can hear them, and they know that they're there. So that's a big thing. I think that's really healthy for them too, But other than that, right now you got 10 healthy forwards and 6 defensemen. So basically, you've got your lineup. Everybody knows they're playing. They know who they're playing with. You've got a young kid, Russell Long. Let him go play. Let's bring some energy, which he was great at Saturday night. And let's, just play.
Where are they at goaltending-wise?
Well, we don't know anything about Michael Hauser yet. We don't know.
Bartis is playing well, but
Bartis is fine. The 6 goals yesterday was like from me to you, nobody defensively around, top shelf. What's he supposed to do?
Right.
It's just he loves playing. He loves playing a lot.
Playing every day, yeah.
So it's not a problem. Again, a great attitude about stuff like that.
This isn't a team most of the season that has needed motivation. And it's come from within. And we've talked kind of ad nauseum about how great that is to see. But how motivating a factor is it that Toledo has 2 games on them, and they're 4 points behind Toledo with a dozen left?
I think Sid is going to step up this weekend. How crazy is that? Not that he doesn't, but I just think this could be the time of a series, time of the season where Sid could go nuts and have 3 great games and carry him and set up Thompson and really carry the team in a little bit. And he's been consistent all year, but he's never had a stretch where he really carried the team on his back. I could see this kind of thing happening.
You mentioned Maggio coming back, but because of some of these injuries, who are a few names? We've mentioned La Raza in recent weeks. Who are some of the guys that you are expecting to maybe take a few more of those minutes, take a few more of those shifts, and really shine or try to take advantage of that over the next couple of weeks to say, hey, when everyone's healthy and it's playoff roster time,
right,
and there's going to be some decisions that have to be made.
Oh, they're going to be bad decisions.
I want to be on that team. Who are some of those guys that are going to have to really play their butts off and impress people, and you expect to kind of make that playoff roster drive?
Think about it this way. You've got Culkin and Sol and Shasma and Baptista and who else is out now? McDonald's out now. Shea's out now. That's 6 guys that are going to be on the playoff roster, guaranteed. They can figure out who needs to show up, you know. I mean, they can really figure out the guys that are there now. Oh, I need to get a little bit more consistent. And that means at both ends, too. That doesn't mean just offense.
Yeah, there aren't many spots to be had.
There really aren't. I mean, there's some really hard decisions to be made. I look at a guy like Marcotte. I look at La Raza. Obviously, La Raza, he's a Tucson guy. He's going to be there. But they got to be a little bit more consistent. They got to be a little bit heavier game going to the net, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, like Gary said, this is a time of year when it's hard to score goals unless you're going to the net, and it shouldn't be easy, you know, and that's what they got to start doing again. When this team struggles, I mean, how many times we talked about it, they start settling for the outside shots, and they all try to beat the goalie on his glove side and, you know, go for the pad for the rebound, you know.
Everyone wants to make it pretty.
Everybody wants to make it pretty, and sometimes the prettiest goals are the ugliest goals. Those are the ones that win.
It's funny because they all count the same.
And isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. It is amazing.
You know, I mean, you know, and that's where you really miss Shasma and Baptista. Those guys were just always in there like that. I mean, they just have this knack of showing up on the other side, you know, the far post every dang time. And they're hurting right now for missing that. Desjardins coming back helps with that. But, you know, they need everybody to do that.
Final question for me. I've mentioned it again, a dozen games left in the regular season. What are you most looking forward to as they make what is kind of the final stretch or some of the final adjustments before the playoffs?
I want to see Vital Cote. I want to see him keep playing well. I want to see Anthony Cortese. He's really stepped up.
He had a nice game on Friday.
He's played really well. I mean, he's playing 25 minutes, and this is what, you know, when this started, he would have been your 7th defenseman, you know, and he's fit in great. Even when Colkin out now, he's really played well. I want to see the forwards go into the net, and I want to see them not turning it over at their own blue line. I really do. How long have we talked about that? You know,
really, Blake? I didn't know.
Yeah, I know. We talked about last year was all the penalties. This year it's the turnovers, and it's like, you know, the defensemen are trying to give them puck support, but you guys keep setting them up for the running back the other way.
You can't be too fancy.
No, you just can't, and you got to protect the puck.
All right.
And they have not been doing a good job of that.
Well, hopefully they will turn that around as they hit the road this week, and we'll try to break it all down again next Monday right here on Inside the Zone. But for Blake, I'm Glenn, and we'll see you next Monday.